I am Spartacus, a Thracian by birth, born into a land of rugged hills and deep forests, where the air smells of pine and the people are warriors at heart. Thrace, my homeland, lies on the edge of civilization, where the borders of Greek city-states and the Roman Republic blur into wild and untamed lands. Life there was hard, but it was free. I was raised among the Mede, a Thracian tribe known for its fierce independence. My earliest memories are of the rhythm of hoofbeats and the clash of iron, for war was our constant companion. As a boy, I was taught to hunt, to fight, and to survive. The bow, the spear, and the sword became extensions of my body. Our enemies were many: neighboring tribes, Greek mercenaries, and eventually the legions of Rome itself. By the time I reached manhood, Rome's influence was creeping into Thrace like a slow and relentless tide. The Republic's armies came not as conquerors at first, but as allies and manipulators, using treaties and bribes to sow division among our tribes. Some of us fought for Rome as auxiliaries, believing we could learn their ways and defend our freedom. Others, like me, resisted. I was a warrior, leading men in skirmishes against those who sought to subjugate us. But Rome's power was immense. They captured me during a battle. I do not remember if it was by treachery or sheer, overwhelming force. Bound in chains, I was paraded before my captors, no longer a Thracian warrior, but a prize of war. They sold me into slave markets like an animal, examining my body for strength and scars that told of my years as a fighter. I was taken to Capua, to the gladiator school of Lentulus Batiatus, where men were trained to kill for the amusement of Roman crowds. The life of a gladiator was one of brutal discipline and constant humiliation. In the ludus, we were stripped of our names and identities, reduced to tools of spectacle. I fought in the arena not for glory, but to survive. Training was relentless. We drilled with wooden weapons, learning the styles of combat favored by Rome: the heavy shield and gladius of the Murmillo, the trident and net of the retiarius. Each fight honed our skills, but it also broke something inside us. Those who faltered were beaten, humiliated, or killed. Yet even in this place of despair, I found comrades. Crixus, a Gaul with the strength of an ox and a heart as fierce as my own, became a brother to me. Together with others, Castus, Gannicus, and Enemaus, we began to dream of something greater than survival. We dreamed of freedom. Our opportunity came one night when tensions in the ludus reached their breaking point. 70 of us rose against our captors, overpowering the guards and seizing weapons. We spilled out into the countryside, fleeing into the hills. Our escape was more than a revolt. It was a declaration. Slaves from the surrounding farms and estates heard of our rebellion and joined us, swelling our numbers. Each new arrival brought stories of suffering and oppression. Men whipped for failing to meet quotas, women taken by their masters, and children born into chains. I became their leader, not because I sought power, but because they saw in me the will to fight. My years as a Thracian warrior and a gladiator had prepared me for this moment. I led them with a simple promise: we would fight for our freedom or die trying. What began as a desperate flight grew into a war. We established our base on Mount Vesuvius, using the rugged terrain to our advantage. From there, we launched raids on Roman estates, seizing weapons, supplies, and more slaves to join our ranks. The Romans underestimated us. They sent small forces to crush our rebellion, but we defeated them using tactics born of necessity and desperation. We ambushed their legions, striking quickly and vanishing into the hills. As our victories mounted, more slaves flocked to our cause. Soon, we were no longer a band of fugitives, but an army tens of thousands strong. Men, women, and children marched with us, united by a common desire to cast off the yoke of Roman oppression. Our greatest challenge was not the Romans, but ourselves. Among my followers were those who wanted to march north, to escape beyond the Alps and find safety in lands Rome could not reach. Others, including Crixus, believed we should turn south, striking at the heart of Roman power. I was torn. My instincts told me that freedom lay beyond the Alps, but my heart longed to strike a blow that would shake the Republic to its core. Ultimately, our forces divided. Crixus led one group south, but they were ambushed and destroyed by a Roman army. Their loss was a bitter lesson in the dangers of division. Rome, humiliated by our successes, sent its most ruthless commander, Marcus Licinius Crassus, to crush us. He brought discipline in overwhelming numbers, fortifying his legions with conscripts and mercenaries. Crassus pursued us relentlessly, forcing us into a corner. We tried to break through his lines, but he constructed trenches and fortifications that trapped us. Desperation set in as supplies dwindled, and our once mighty army began to fracture. In the spring of 71 BCE, we faced Crassus in a final, desperate battle on the plains of Lucania. Our army, though still vast, was weary and poorly armed. I led from the front, as I always had, my sword raised high and my heart full of defiance. The fighting was fierce and bloody. We threw ourselves against the Roman lines, but their discipline and numbers were too great. I fell that day, or so they claim, though no one ever found my body. The Romans crucified thousands of my followers along the Appian Way, a grim warning to all who might challenge their rule. Yet even as they sought to erase us, they could not erase the idea we represented. I am Spartacus, a man who rose from slavery to defy an empire. Though my rebellion was crushed, my name has endured as a symbol of resistance, a reminder that even the mightiest powers cannot extinguish the human desire for freedom. Let my story be told not as a tale of defeat, but as a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who refuse to live in chains.